And this is my interpretation for Venus opposing Mars Synastry. This is my astrology Synastry series. Girls come from Venus and boys come from Mars. Complete opposites, but attracted towards each other nonetheless, right? The thing is, Mars and Venus, respectively, create a superficial and short-term connection which resembles most relationships these days. The Synastry doesn't have a love at first sight vibe. It's more of a lust at first sight. Everything with this Synastry, especially in the beginning, is contingent on appearances and the tension of what sex with the other person would be like. I will acknowledge that plenty of relationships that started off sexual and based on appearances has led into long-term commitments. However, we're not there yet. In this Synastry, and sharing the Synastry aspect with another will not reveal long-term, just short-term, the here and the now. The Venus person does everything within their power to be attractive to the Mars person, and the Mars person does everything within their power to conquer the Venus person. This is a runner-chaser Synastry. This is two can play that game Synastry. This is playing hard to get Synastry. In most cases, once the other has gotten what was given, it's over. You need to understand that Mars and Venus are both superficial and operate on a surface level. There's no depth. And if you share the Synastry with someone, and if you are honest with yourselves, you know this. This depth that I speak of is saved for long-term commitments, where your partner is able to see you, for example, without your makeup, without money, or when you're smelling funny. Depth in relationships is a turnoff. And the main reason those with the Synastry run away from the other or end things because it implies seriousness. The energy this Synastry exudes is unable to appreciate the other without the extra glitz, the glamour, the fun, and the sex with no strings attached. Imagine being at the gym. The Venus person, if she's the woman, will show up with her hair and makeup done, with tight-fitting or minimal clothing to be viewed as attractive. The Mars person, if he's the man, will show up similarly, but he will add emphasis on lifting heavy weights, mainly arms or chest, or some exercises where his junk imprint is seen. Do not get me wrong, the Mars and Venus person are both trying to be attractive, but the Venus person will be more obvious and suggestive. The point is, both parties are showing up to the gym where the expectation is to grind, sweat, focus, and be ugly. But instead they show up the complete opposite because they are there to attract and to turn someone or everybody on. They are both striving to be sex symbols. They both want to be desired in a sexual manner. Before moving on to my next point, if Venus is the woman, she will absolutely be squatting, bending over, and just being suggestive with her movements while acting oblivious. The same concept if the roles are reversed, where with Venus being the man and Mars being the woman. Regardless, the Venus person will always be the overt one trying to appear sexy because this makes them feel important, especially if they accomplish attracting the Mars person. In most cases, everyone will want the Mars person more than the Venus person. So for the Venus to capture the Mars person, it'll be an accomplishment. I'm sure you expected me to say that everyone wants the Venus person, but no. Let's say the Venus is the woman. How many times have you seen attractive women who all want, compete, and hate the next woman over a man, i.e., in this case, the Mars person? Now, how many times have you seen the man, i.e., Mars, fighting another man over a woman, i.e., Venus? Only in long-term relationships. But as I've already established, this Synastry aspect is not about long-term relationships, you see? Generally speaking, a man is never going to fight another man over a woman that they aren't serious about. In worse but common cases, you will find the man more than willing to share the woman. The same cannot be said for women. Women do not want to share a man, and this is when fighting, jealousy, and drama come into play. Emphasis on the word play. Venus opposing Mars is all about games. If at any point you became confused while reading or listening to this, you can expect this dynamic to bring about confusion as well, which is part of the game of attraction and superficial love. It makes things exciting. This is the Synastry for those in situationships or acting like a couple, but not actually being in one officially. If at any point one person begins to want or demand more, you will witness a breakup or another person being added into the mix to cause drama. This drama is strategically inserted with the intent to deviate from a commitment, and usually the Mars person is the creator of such a strategy. The Venus person will always try to make the Mars person jealous, and the Mars person will respond by actually making the Venus person jealous by following through and getting someone else that the Venus person will inevitably compete with. The Mars person will play to win. Always remember that. The Mars person will take away the Venus person's power with a quickness. An example of this would be the Venus person thinking that they're the prize, they look good, and assume the Mars person cannot do better. The Venus person resort to withdrawing sex as a strategy in his or her game. The Mars person, in turn, will then go out and find multiple others to have sex with, and who usually look better than the Venus person. The Mars person's game is about dominating and conquering, even if that means doing so in an alternative ways. Mars doesn't have to have sex with the Venus person to hurt or to make the Venus person jealous. The Mars person is ruthless in this game, and Venus does not stand a chance, though it may appear so in the beginning. The Mars person considers themselves the winner of this game the moment the Venus person gives Mars attention. So if you are the Venus person reading or listening to this claiming, "Oh, I haven't had sex with Mars yet," while assuming that you still hold the power, I'm sorry to say you are wrong. It's like a cat and mouse game with the Venus person being the mouse. And like mice, just because they're fast and elusive, the cat always wins in the end. This is not a synastry aspect to frown upon because opposites make a whole. Therefore, these individuals like this game, this dynamic. They are different but alike all the same. Again, women love men and men love women, no matter how different they are. They are still attracted to each other and go through all the motions of being with someone that is their opposite. What works for me may not work for another, therefore I'm not saying this is a bad or negative synastry to share with someone. It works for them until it doesn't. When we observe relationships that start off like this, usually someone wants things to evolve into something more serious, and that's when the opposition arises and can no longer be ignored, laughed away, or fucked away like before. Like I said, oppositions make a whole, so at some point one person in the synastry will crave to become whole with the other person, while the other person will begin to resist and start a war. And usually this is the Mars person resisting. The Mars person will view this demand or request of becoming serious as a threat and will activate that inherited war and combative spirit to oppose the incoming threat of a commitment and ultimately depth with another person. It is at this point when the Venus person will start dating others in hopes to make the Mars person jealous, or the Venus person will give silent treatment, withdraw sexual activities, cry to friends and family members, post memes, try to appear unbothered. The Venus person will try to become more attractive, change their hair color, or turn to tarot to see if the Mars person is suffering without them. As aforementioned, the Mars person will start dating other people with intent of recreating this Venus opposite Mars synastry. Mars will have sex with others and secretly compare the others to the Venus person. It is during this time that the Mars person surrenders or keeps fighting so hard that the situationship is over for good. This is the time when the decision if whether to make things serious or not goes down. Like I mentioned before, this isn't the synastry of long term, though it can become that. Mars is the one who has control over whether it becomes serious or not. Have you ever heard of a non-committal player becoming faithful and settling down? Yeah, they're more than likely, they share this synastry with someone who at first played games with and then eventually got serious with. If you tell me that you have the synastry with someone but you do not like playing games or engaging in casual sex and relationships, I would call you a liar and challenge you to dig deeper within yourself. You are what you attract, even opposites. Having this synastry with someone may even awaken you to something you weren't aware of or in denial of about yourself, not to get all spiritual. In conclusion, if you share this synastry with someone, this is about game playing, power, sex, appearances, and jealousy. This can also reveal how your relationship will start with a person, and may God be with you if you are the Venus person. Side notes, the Mars person will not care how good your sex or appearances are enough to be controlled by it, whether Mars is the woman and Venus is the man, or whether Venus is the man and Mars is the... Tee-hee, you get it. Let me fix it. Hold on. It doesn't matter if Venus is the man and Mars is the woman. May God be with the Venus person. And it doesn't matter if Venus is the woman and Mars is the man. May God be with the Venus person.